What's up, hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, most importantly, learn to paint bravely, and learn a bunch of other stuff like how not to put yourself out of commission by hurting yourself doing this hobby. Or hopefully you can learn something from me, since that is exactly the position I am in right now. And normally we would get to, hobby stuff that we're going to be doing, but we're going to jump right in and tell you the harrowing tale.
Tell us all.
Yeah. So, okay. About a month ago, was doing hobby, normal stuff. Cut myself on a model, some kind of spiky something or other. I don't even know what it was. And, I cut my finger in like 2 different places. Didn't think much of it. It happens all the time. I've cut myself horribly with a hobby knife and done all sorts of other things, right? It happens. But there must have been something on that model. I don't know, some jank eBay model with Ebola on it or something. Basically, it started to heal, was looking all right, put some Neosporin on it, all that. Then it started getting worse, and I'm painting regularly with it, and it's getting worse, and it basically looks like this gnarly blood blister, right? So a couple days ago, I guess it was yesterday? Yeah, I don't know, something like that. I went to the doctor, and they're basically like, oh yeah, it's a blood blister. Like, have you been doing anything that, keeps repeatedly hitting that area of your finger? I'm like, yeah, paintbrush, roll the paintbrush to get the nice fine tip on it, that kind of thing, right over the blood blister, even with a Band-Aid on, wasn't really an issue, but apparently that made it worse, according to the medical professionals. So they decided that they were going to cut it open, right. Clean it up and send me on my way. Well, yeah, so they took a pretty good sized needle and opened me up, and it was not the best experience. They're like, well, we could Novocaine it, but we got this topical freezing spray that'll no problem. Doctor promised me it wasn't so bad, she said, I put staples in people's heads using this stuff. It's no big deal. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So it didn't hurt too bad. She kind of got a few, sensitive areas, but basically just cut me open like a good 1/4 inch to take care of this thing. So yeah, I've been completely out of commission painting. I can't pick up a paintbrush right now. I can't do any hobby, and it totally sucks.
Sorry, dude. That's your main hand, right?
Yeah, so my right hand, middle finger, right where the brush kind of sits. But that got me thinking, like, what kinds of things do we do in this hobby that could potentially be dangerous?
We got a safety episode today. That's right.
Yeah. Because you don't want to end up like me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. The injury prevention, and then allowing yourself to heal, and then assuming that, maybe you don't heal, Casey, and that hand becomes useless to you. How do you learn to use your other hand and work around it?
Become a left-handed slap chopper.
Right.
Just dry brush.
So that's a whole other topic, but I'm curious. I have a suspicion that slap chop might be a technique that people can use as we get older, and our eyes and our hands and the rest of our bodies start to betray us, as we age. That, slap chop might be something that we can do later in life. The dry brushing, I bet, works pretty well. Some of the coloring works pretty well. You have to be a little bit careful of like the borders of the color regions, but
sure. Yeah, so that would be have to learn how to I guess just train your other hand to get a little bit better brush control whenever. Like I broke my arm snowboarding like years and years ago, and like had to use my left hand for basically everything for a month and a half. So that ended up working out. And actually, it's weird. I still, because I used to do a lot of PC gaming, Counter-Strike and stuff. And not that I all was able to play Counter-Strike with my left hand. But I could do pretty much everything else, like with a mouse, and I still occasionally use that. If I'm like, oh, I'm over here, the mouse is over here, it's no big deal. It's like, it feels fine, right?
Yeah, use your left hand to download the wall hacks and the aim bots, so then you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just gotta move around a little bit and click a button. So yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
Back in 1.6, that was easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I am legitimately sorry to hear that you injured yourself there, and I do hope the antibiotics are able to deal with that. But
yeah. I do hope so, because the doctor wasn't quite sure. I mean, the antibiotics she was pretty sure about, like that wasn't going to be an issue, but she's like, well, if it comes back, like I'll refer you now to a specialist to use some liquid nitrogen, just burn it off. Like, oh, that sounds great. It's real great. Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gauzed up and bandaged up, and I got this. I'm in the middle of the video right now trying to like 3D print. Like I went to, because I had a print going before I went to the doctor, and I come back and I like, okay, I got to clean off this plate, right? It's like trying to put a glove on. It's next to impossible. Like the finger doesn't fit with all the gauze and stuff on there. So I had to like one-handed clean off this stupid printing plate. And that sucked.
Yeah, you don't want to get the resin soaking into your gauze. That's
no, that would be bad. Yeah, so I at least had the glove mostly over my hand. I could kind of use my pinky and my thumb a little bit. I was like kind of holding stuff. Yeah, it wasn't great. Still not great. Still hurts too.
Well, you're finding your system. You're working around your disability, and I do hope it's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
You said you forgot what it was that you originally nicked your finger on, but it's at times like these. Yeah. I remember when I sent you a used model, that old tank. It was it had metal bits, it had plastic bits, and it was also filled with dead flies and mouse poo, mouse feces. Yeah, so
exactly.
If you have some old eBay rescues that have been up in the attic for a while, and you've had all manner of rodents and lizards crawling all over them.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of jungle disease you picked up, Casey? Who knows? Who knows?
Exactly. I mean, it sucks because it's something I honestly do think about, although weirdly because I stabbed myself with a grot spear once. And I posted a picture about it on like Facebook and Instagram or something. This was years ago, right? And my grandma, of all people, like, you better go get yourself a tetanus shot. And it's like, Grandma, that's painted metal. It's not real. So compliment, I don't know. But,
yeah,
I don't know. For some reason, that's just stuck with me. Like, oh man, like, what if there was something on the end of this? Turns out that's 100% possible. Yeah.
Yeah, there are real health concerns that we need to be somewhat aware of. Between just poking ourselves with sharp steel to poking ourselves with grime encrusted grot spears, there's a few worries out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the weird thing though is the doctor was saying that it's probably because it was kind of like a blood blister, basically.
Yeah,
which is why they ended up cutting it open and like fixing it, right? But she was saying that like, well, because you put your paintbrush there, that repetitive motion of like rolling the brush on my finger to like make the point, pointy, probably is what actually made it worse, which is kind of weird.
So in your description, I'm also wondering how good your doctor is, because I went to school with a lot of pre-meds.
Yeah.
And also when I was teaching organic chemistry, when I was teaching sophomore organic chemistry, there were a lot of people like, yeah, I would trust this person as a doctor. And there were a lot of people on the other side of that spectrum who still did go to med school. So,
I always think about that when I go to the doctor too. It's like, man, I hope I don't get that like D+. I'm glad I made it, doctor.
Yeah.
Like, is that, I've always wondered that, like, is there, I mean, it should be like a pass fail. Like either you get a freaking A or you don't graduate. Because I feel like at a certain point,
I think that the line is normally between C and D on a lot of these things.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, right?
And I can tell you that there is some pretty serious grade inflation these days in higher education. Yeah. So, yeah.
This one was a younger one too, younger doctor. Ooh. I don't know. Fresh out of med school, running into she's one of the doctors in the urgent care. So I don't know if that's like the bad place to be if you're a doctor. You're just like, well, sorry, you got a D, so urgent care it is for you.
Well, that's a pickle, Casey. I think the key is to take care of ourselves and not let it get to the point where we really need actual professionals,
I agree.
If we get to the point where you're hoping that you get a good doctor, then...
yeah. Welcome to America. Thank you. So good. It's worse because I'm going to have to pay for it either way.
Yeah, I know. Well, antibiotics are pretty cheap, so we're hoping that works.
That's true.
Liquid nitrogen is pretty cheap too, but that's going to hurt a lot more.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot worse. Yeah. No, not looking forward to having to do that if I have to do that. But hey, if I do, you're gonna hear about it.
Stay tuned. I will be out again here on Paint Brave the podcast, where Casey's going to keep on working through his injuries and telling you all about it. So
yeah, pretty much.
So we thought we'd spin this bad luck into some good news. We're going to talk about hobby safety today, and I've been thinking about this. I'm going to start right off with something that is more useful than I thought it could possibly be. Now, this is the hobby knife from Monument Hobbies. Now, ordinarily a hobby knife is just like an X-Acto blade. It's, the metal stick, and there's kind of like a clamp on the head of it that clamps down onto the X-Acto blade. But this Monument Hobbies uses the same type of, pointed triangular razor at the end, an X-Acto blade essentially, but it's in like a box cutter configuration. So there's this slide on it. So I put my thumb here and I slide out the blade.
Oh, that's satisfying.
It is satisfying, and I can use this as a box cutter, but it also works as a hobby knife because that's what it is. Now, when I'm done working, here's the key bit. Put that blade away, and put this in your backpack, put this in your hobby go bag, this is a safe way to have a hobby knife, which I really can't say for X-Acto blades, because they come with those flimsy plastic caps that you're supposed to put over the blade, and those always fall off. They always fall off, or you lose them. But this, all in one package, and next time I make an order with Monument, I'm definitely buying like 5 more of these things because this is awesome. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to do that. I didn't actually know that they had hobby knives, so that's good to know. Because I've definitely been in situations where I've questioned the X-Acto blade, like the cheap spin to tighten ones, because there have been times when I've been carving something away or getting rid of a mold line, and all of a sudden it kind of lets go, and the blade starts to spin. You get that like loss of control for half a second. It's really easy to cut yourself, especially with a newer, super sharp blade. And I'm never like that. I haven't found a better way to do that. Like, I keep my X-Acto blades on a magnetic strip, like up pretty high on my wall. So I know that they're safe from accidentally dropping, stabbing me in the foot, which has almost happened.
Yeah, always store sharp objects as high up as you can place them. That's good safety. Always above head level. Always.
Yeah, it's eye level. Okay, and it's a good magnetic strip. I keep everything on that magnetic strip. It's great. All my tools. Yeah, it's probably fine.
We were guests on a podcast, I think yesterday. I don't know, time flies.
Yesterday.
Yeah, we were guests on a podcast on listening to paint dry. And one of the things we got to talking about was, somebody put their hand into their backpack and just ended up with a hobby knife like stuck under their fingernail.
It was Mike.
Was he the one who suffered that injury too?
Yeah, he was in like a 2-day Roman Laplot class, right?
Yes.
And he threw his, he's like grabbing something out of his bag, and the hobby knife went under his fingernail.
Ooh.
Yeah. So don't put those in your backpack.
Yeah. So unless you get your injury infected, like the hobby knife, accidental cuts with a hobby knife are probably not life-threatening, probably not even finger-threatening, but you can definitely hurt yourself and maybe get an infection. Maybe lose a fingerprint or something, but that's if you get really unlucky.
Yeah.
Actually, a horror story that I heard on the Independent Characters, who I've also heard the Independent Characters podcast is coming back.
It's coming back.
And I am excited about that. I'm going to tune right in. But I think it was Justin on that podcast told a story about eye safety. And this was, he was using a hobby knife, and the tip of the blade snapped off, and just worst possible luck hit him in the eye, and he had to get that taken care of. That story is stuck with me.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's not great.
And so
I've definitely had that happen. Luckily not hitting me in the eye, but the tip, like if I'm trying to grind off especially like old super glue or something, just get under a corner or something, and then the tip just goes off like a bit,
Ooh.
Yeah, not good. So yeah, I tend to like keep my sunglasses on my head if I'm doing anything that I think is going to do it. Like, sunglasses aren't exactly proper eye protection, but certainly going to stop a little tip from an X-Acto or something from hitting me in the eyeball. So
I think most plastic sunglasses are close enough. Even better if they wrap around, but having legitimate like shop safety glasses around is not a terrible idea. And these days you can get some ones that are actually pretty comfortable.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I still have a pair from when I was a chemist, and I actually had an explosion in the lab, and so I have a pair of glasses that have a couple of nicks like on one of the lenses, and it's hard to say. I don't know exactly what angle that particular bit of shrapnel was coming at, but one of them could have been in the eye. So
keep those around.
For the most part, painting little plastic figures, you're not going to be dealing with too much shrapnel, but yeah, those thin, little, sharp, little X-Acto blades, they can snap. They can come out of their handles. I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but just like be aware of the possibilities. And there are times when you're kind of like finagling with something, trying to scrape out a mold line, or even like trying to like cut something off of a metal mini, and there are times where you're like, there's a chance this blade is going to break right now. Play it safe. Play it safe. Either don't YOLO, or YOLO, but put a pair of sunglasses on, or even better, safety glasses.
Yeah, it's a good call. Safety glasses definitely plays into another thing that we have on the list, something I use pretty often, a Dremel.
Yes.
I definitely feel like if you're using a Dremel, that's probably the time you'd actually want to do that. Like for the most part, just throw on those glasses. Because I've definitely had stuff hit me in the face, And again, like I tend to wear the sunglasses because they're already on my head, and I know that has stopped things from going in my eye. Like, because I usually polish up metal models, and I'll shave stuff off of plastic models, and you're taking material away a lot of the time. So, Dremel's spinning pretty fast; it can shoot things out pretty quick.
Oh, for sure. And sometimes you get those sparks going with a Dremel. That's fun too.
Haven't had that happen on a model yet, but I know what you mean. Just a little cutting wheel.
Yeah, well, I'm grinding steel. Yeah.
Yeah. I need realistic steel beams from a base. Yeah.
Gotta be done.
Oh yeah.
So I think like of the actual physical safety concerns, I think eye safety is the biggest danger. Of course, I'm trying to think how to tell this story. There's another podcast I listen to.
Well, even better.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I might. I don't know.
Yeah, someone dropped an X-Acto blade on their private parts.
Oh, no, haven't heard that story. That's a bummer.
I
mean, yeah, I could see it happening. Like, yeah.
I hope it's not a true story, but I believe him. I
don't know. It could be like if you're sitting at your desk and it just rolls on down. Like,
yeah, listen to Legends of the Painty Men. That's a good one, right there.
Yeah. That is a good podcast. Highly recommend that. It's
good to listen to anyway, and
for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Wear protective clothing at all times.
Jeans are usually pretty good. I mean, I have the big like Vinci V apron going on a lot of the times.
Do you actually while you're working?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Because, I tend to ruin my clothes like really fast.
Okay.
Because I spill stuff on them all. It's constant. Like I'll go inside, like, and I'll just have paint somewhere that I didn't even realize or like got on my finger and then I wiped it on something. And not that the stuff's not going to come out, but it's like I'll have purchased a shirt same day and then just go straight into the hobby room and it's like, oh, I just got some like enamels on that right there, that little spot, like that doesn't exactly come out. So yeah, I tend to wear the workshop apron, and that thing is getting messier and messier. So I know it's working.
Okay, that's good for protecting your khakis and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
keeping up.
Well, I mean, a lot of times, like I'm doing pretty messy work in the hobby that, like, I'd say a majority of people don't actually do. So I feel like it makes a little more sense in my case because I am like scrubbing stuff and like getting paint flecks, from toothbrushes and cleaning off models like pretty much weekly. So yeah, if you're doing a lot of that work, highly recommend it. Nice apron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, fire safety.
The only big one that I know of is people putting isopropyl alcohol into their sonic cleaners.
That's a good one.
If there's a short in your sonic cleaner, if there's a hole in it, if there's anything wrong with it, it will start a fire and burn your house down, basically.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Just in general, any of the alcohols, the paint thinners, your paint strippers, all of that stuff, that's probably flammable. The same with most spray cans, flammable. Just be really aware of that stuff, and don't leave it unattended. Don't do anything stupid. Don't.
Yeah, and I've had a sonic cleaner blow up on me, like pretty bad before.
Did you load it up with alcohol?
No. I'm just saying it has shorted out.
Oh, sure.
So, like, the potential for a fire was 100% real in that case.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like, sparks out the back end. Like, I don't know what happened to it. If, it was one of the, like, less expensive ones. It wasn't, like, an all-metal one. Mm-hmm. It was, like, a cheap, it was, like, $35 on Amazon. And, I mean, I used it for, like, a while before that happened. And it was showing signs of wear.
Yeah.
But, definitely something that could have happened if I was, putting alcohol in to the sonic cleaner. So I have done that before. I have put alcohol in a sonic cleaner. It does work, but like, it's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, if you do that, make sure to babysit it. But for legal purposes, I'm just going to say, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't
use LA's totally awesome. Get your super clean. If you live in the United Kingdom, get your Dettol.
Yeah. because it still works perfectly fine.
Don't put flammable things in like a cheaply made thing that shakes really fast.
Exactly. That's a good call. It's a good call.
Yeah,
other than that, though, I don't know if there's any other like fire concerns.
So that's the most dangerous combination that I can think of. Like there are a lot of things that we use that are flammable. Again, the alcohols, the solvents, the strippers, the spray cans, all that stuff is flammable, and just like be aware of it. And that's mostly like, I don't know, leave your hobby room when you need to take a cigarette break. I don't know.
I was thinking that actually, like that's the only case I can think of. It's like if you're gonna smoke, make sure that your hands aren't covered in alcohol before you light that thing up. Yeah.
I feel like most smokers have learned some of these lessons already, but
right. Yeah.
Also for your safety, maybe get on the patch or something. I don't know. But,
right. Yeah.
Well, you don't need me hounding you on that one. Like,
no. Oh man.
But yeah, just be aware. A lot of that stuff flammable. Be careful. Don't burn your house down, because that would be not a good day. Not a good day. But yeah, in terms of like the actual combo where that might happen, I think that the ultrasonic cleaner is probably the most likely.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. I actually get asked that question pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, can I put isopropyl alcohol in my sonic cleaner? Is that going to work better?
Yeah.
If I don't have X, Y, or Z, degreaser or whatever. I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the off chance that you find yourself in a situation where you have a jar of a liquid that's on fire, just in the moment, what you want to do is smother it by putting a cap on it, basically. So if you do have an ultrasonic cleaner and the reservoir is completely on fire, if you put the metal top on the ultrasonic cleaner, that is your best bet to resolve that situation without severe damage to all of your belongings.
Yeah. Or yourself.
Yeah. And all that stuff. Once that liquid spills out and onto other stuff, that is... Well, I hope you have the proper type of fire extinguisher handy, which actually I do these days. I do try to keep a fire extinguisher, at least down in my basement. I think there's actually 2 of them down there, so relatively handy places. But other than that, it's evacuate and use your cellular phone to call your fire brigade.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
Yeah, hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, good luck, folks. Good luck. Okay. So what about
less dire?
All right, let's get into poisons.
Poisons. Ooh. So like drinking your paint water, eating your paintbrush. Not really poisonous.
Those are lower
not too
levels.
Bad.
There are some types of paint that are still sold, not so much in our hobby anymore, but there are types of paint, I think especially like cadmium red, like
I think it's the big
reds, one, It's mostly red, I think, but like the heavy metals.
Cobalt blue.
Is that one of them? Okay.
Cobalt is poisonous, I know that. I don't know. I assume they use that to do blue. I don't know.
Yeah. It depends. It depends on the exact chemical, but like some of the things containing heavy metals in that formulation, basically, that are dangerous, and so heavy metal poisoning is a possibility with certain pigments. It's not so much of a problem in our hobby anymore, but yeah, don't be careful what paints you're putting into your airbrush, especially because you don't want to aerosolize and then breathe in certain types of heavy metal pigments, and try to avoid taking them orally as well by licking your paintbrush and drinking your paint water. Be a little bit careful with that one. Yeah.
I do have to wonder though, like what is the breakdown of people who lick their brush in the hobby? I mean, is it like 50-50 or is it like 80-20?
I don't know. I bet it's closer to 50-50.
You think?
I do not lick my paintbrush, or every once in a while I'll fix the tip. Every once in a while, but that's like after I clean off my paintbrush. It's
sure. No, I 100% do all the time, and I can't help it. Like we recorded a bunch of video at Adepticon, and I swear to you, at least 4 or 5 times in the short clips that we have, I put the stupid paintbrush in my mouth.
It really makes you think, huh?
Yeah. Eating a lot of paint. I mean, I picked out that what was it, the odor blocker in Duncan paints day one
with a citrus or whatever it is.
It was coconut oil.
Oh yeah.
And I 100% called it. You thought I was crazy, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we cutting that with coconut oil because it stinks if it sits around." Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Good call.
It's not a good thing, but it's not toxic at least. So
yeah, Okay, so some of the organic solvents, again, spray cans, paint strippers, stuff like that. A few of those chemicals are known carcinogens, kind of in low levels, but like, yeah, don't breathe tons of organic fumes if you don't need to. Not good for you otherwise. Also if you breathe in enough of them, you're also depriving your brain of oxygen. And so that's not good. And then there's just the overall damage to your lungs that comes with breathing in particulates. And if you're breathing in a lot of the not the fumes, but like the mist from airbrushing or from spray cans, like you're gonna give yourself weird kinds of pneumonia or stuff like
right,
that. Yeah. So that's not good. But so I mean, being on YouTube, the safety police do make their rounds on our videos, and anytime I have a spray can in my hand, if I don't wear a respirator, I get a comment on it. And I just advise people, be aware of realistically how much time you spend per week, per month with a airbrush or with a rattle can. There's a street artist in a town I used to live in who did that rattle can street art, and they'd make cool planets and stuff like that, and so they'd be spending hours a day with a rattle can. And eventually they started wearing a respirator. And I think that was a really good call.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the first couple of years I saw that guy, they were not wearing a respirator, but eventually they started one. But a lot of stuff like that is just accumulated damage over time. And you're probably not going to get a terribly infected finger right away that you can source to a singular event. But...
That's fair.
But yeah, just be honest with yourself. I if I'm outside and I'm spraying 5 models for a grand total of 30 seconds, like, yeah, I might not put on a mask, and I don't worry about it too much. But yeah. What else?
Like repetitive injury and posture kind of in the same category, but posture definitely.
I think that's the most likely one, the most realistic thing we need to talk about.
Yeah, like how you sit in your chair, the position you're in for lengthy amounts of time definitely makes a difference long term. Like you get the hunchback going on. It's funny because the last video I made, I just got this email out of nowhere for electric, tables that go up and down. And I was like, wow, you know what? It's actually like a really good sponsorship because, yeah, like you can adjust to a proper height no matter what you're doing in the hobby. Like if I'm sitting and painting, I can have it exactly where it needs to be in a comfortable position, in a good posture. If I'm gaming, lift that thing up and I can stand up and not have to lean over like a kitchen table or whatever. So those have been working out pretty good in my hobby space, actually. I didn't think that would be a thing, but once I started using it, I was like, oh yeah, I was probably not doing this correctly before. Just using whatever tables and desks I have, and they're all random heights, it seems. So, yeah.
That's really cool. I learned about something recently you can get wheels for your desk chair that are different sizes. So you can you can pop like the 5 little tiny wheels off of your desk chair and get like big monster wheels. Like they look like kind of giant rollerblade wheels or something like that.
Nice, yeah.
And so there are ways to either raise or lower your desk, raise or lower your chair a little bit to get the ergonomics right. And I can't tell you what's right for you. Maybe you do got to get some better medical advice on that one. But
I'll talk to my doctor.
Yeah. So something else I do when I'm painting, at least on camera, is I have an object to brace my hands on that is above the height of the desk. So elbows on the desk, and then I'll have I used to just use a jar, and then I built myself like a special little bracing bar. But something, I had this idea today actually, and what I have in front of me right here, right now, is a yoga block. So when you're doing yoga and they're making you do like twister positions, and they're like, okay, now put your hand on the ground, and you're like, there's no way I can reach the ground. And then the yoga instructor hands you a cork block and they put that on the ground, and then you can reach the cork block and not fall over maybe.
Right.
Okay. So this is a yoga block. It is just a rectangular prism made of cork. It's just I don't know, maybe like 3 inches on one edge, 6 on the other, 9 on the other, something like that. It's just a soft block that is used for taking up space and bracing body parts on. That's its job. But I was playing around with it today. I think it actually might be pretty good for bracing your hands during painting if you want to like play around with your ergonomics a little bit.
Yeah.
So something worth thinking about. Get your table up or down, get your seat up or down, figure out where you're bracing your elbows and your hands. You are going to be, hopefully, painting many minis and spending hours and hours and hours at your painting desk. So it's worth the time to adjust your painting desk, adjust your posture so that it's good.
That makes a lot of sense. Right now, for painting on camera at least, and I mean, this is a small case, right, for me and you and, anybody else who's filming videos of painting miniatures, right? But keeping yourself in the same spot, I use like a little Magic the Gathering deck box that's taped down to a cutting mat. So that I set that somewhere and I kind of rest one hand with a paint holder. And then, it's there and it stays. But that yoga block you got there looks a mighty bit nicer than what I'm using.
Yeah, I've been looking at this, and now I kind of want to see if they have ones that are slightly different dimensions, or like cut this one in half or something. But I might be onto something here with this idea.
Yeah. Do you know how much, just off the top of your head, those things are?
Oh, they're cheap.
Okay,
I don't know what they are, but like yoga can be an affordable hobby and activity.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe this was $10.
That is not bad at all. My first thinking is that's a lot of cork.
Yeah, I don't
potentially not a lot of money.
I'm considering cutting this in half, and it's probably just filled with plastic trash or something.
Oh. Yeah. You need to do that research, because if that's solid cork, like that's a sweet deal for cork.
It's probably not actually from a cork tree. It might just be like one notch cork away from MDF. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just thinking basing material that could go a long way. Get out that Monument hobby knife you got there and just go for it. Just cut it open.
No, I like it. It's pristine.
Yeah, no.
It's pristine.
I just want to see if you do it. That's all.
It's got a little bit of give in it, but not too much. Like it's got a nice feel. Yeah,
I like it. It's a good idea.
Always thinking we are. Let's see. If you are sanding resin, try not to breathe them particles in. That's that one.
I feel like is definitely more of the like a well-known one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I've heard that more often.
But we almost forgot to say
the thing. That's fair.
And kind of the same. Like, be careful not to just have tons of shrapnel of metal and plastic crap around. Like, it's probably not good for you. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when I cut myself on the model, it didn't seem so bad. But then I was working with metal and resin, sanding it, gluing it together. So who knows? Who knows what else I got on my hands at that point? For that matter, let's just go real basic. Just wash your hands. Wash them.
You know what? I don't know what you're doing right now. Hopefully, you're getting a little bit of hobby done. But next time you get up from your desk, you go wash your hands. It's been It's been a while. It's been too long.
Yeah, exactly. How many times you touch that paint top, to remove the lid?
Yeah. Who else has been touching that paint top?
Yeah. I don't know. Take it to a paint night. Who knows what's on that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get one of those UV cabinets. Kill all the germs, all your stuff.
Yeah.
Old safety goggles in chemistry class.
Yeah. Be a little bit careful with them UV rays.
But
of course, it's not like you're going to be going outside a lot, so you're not going to going to be getting any sunburns. That's for sure. Not
just really trying to push it towards UV.
No heat stroke.
Yeah. Pop some vitamin D. Every now and again.
Yeah, pop some vitamin D. Get up, stretch, hydrate. Drink things other than Mountain Dew, Major Melon, 0 calories.
I mean, there is water in it, at least.
There is water in it. If I were to look at the ingredients list for Mountain Dew, Major Melon, 0 sugar, probably the main ingredient would be water. Oh boy, I'm hoping.
You hope it's at the top of the list.
The main ingredient is carbonated water. Hey, close enough.
That's fine. Close enough.
Yeah,
it's water. It's
a
variation.
That carbonic acid. That's what you need. Yeah.
It's all good. Drink a little more milk.
Carbonic
you're fine.
Acid, the main ingredient in acid rain. You know what they say. Yeah.
Don't worry. You burp it out. It's fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you burp it out.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
All
right, we got our safety briefing down. Now we can get on with this Paint Bravely, the podcast. You can't live in fear all the time. Let's paint bravely.
Exactly. So what you been up to? What you been painting and working on?
Today I finished up a new batch of Space Marine fish hooks, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I can see another PSA coming, like, oh yeah. Yeah, caught some fish, got the hook on my finger, and now I got a weird disease in my finger.
Yep.
I gotta clean those fish hooks.
Yeah, that's a whole different safety briefing. But I'll be sure to wear my life jacket, because
yeah. It's a good call.
No, so in other news, my local store, Crossroad Games, recently got a rack of the new Vallejo line. So the new Vallejo Express paints, and also the brand new, I guess, reformulated, certainly new bottles for their Game Color line. And you said it before, but in the United States, it's hard to keep Vallejo in stock. So I was actually surprised that Brenton had picked up the rack. But he said his distributors were selling full racks of Vallejo paint. And
nice.
At least for a little while, he's going to have a full rack. It had been probably at least a year or two since I bought any Vallejo product at all, just because it is kind of hard to get in America. or you have to do like a special order from a larger kind of distributor type online store to get any. But it was a pleasant surprise to see it locally, and so I bought 4 colors, and you will not be too surprised by what they are. We have turquoise, jade, aquamarine, and the last one's a little harder to guess, but scorpy green.
Whew, thought you were gonna say teal.
Yeah, I know.
Scorpy, not scorpion green.
Yeah,
that's been like a good one for a while.
Yeah,
scorpion.
So I'm always on my naming criticisms, but 3 of those I think have perfectly good names: turquoise, aquamarine, and jade. Perfectly fine names. Scorpy green, I mean, it's pretty silly, but it's also a classic, so I'll let it slide.
I think they're definitely going for this is classic. Plus, I own a bottle of Vallejo game color that is called Scorpion Green.
Sure.
So I'm not sure why they changed it, because Scorpy sounds stupid.
I can't remember. I think I have like a 7-year-old bottle of Scorpy Green. I'll have to go check whether it's Scorpy or Scorpion.
You know what it is? I just remembered, so I'm going to correct myself. Okay. It's called Escorpina.
Of course. Yeah, you got to keep reading on the bottle for the subtitles to get that English Scorpy. Yeah,
Scorpy.
Whoever did that translation, just have a little fun with it. So it's important to have fun.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. But anyway, I was given those paints a try, and I like them. They were going on nice and smooth, and man, I had a moment when that first brush was going down on the model where it's coming off all smooth. Like, ooh, this is nice. I hope that rack at the local store stays stocked. I do. That'd be real good.
I mean, it's possible with the new, if they did reformulate or if they're just rebottling or something, that they're trying to keep other countries stocked more often because it's like a separate line or a specific type of line. I don't know.
Time will tell.
Who knows? Yeah, for sure.
So the other thing on these bottles of paint is the bottles themselves are clear plastic. And okay, so all your bottles of paint are clear plastic, but they're like cloudy clear plastic, or like cloudy opaque, and colorless plastic. And so you don't exactly see what color is in there. It's kind of, a little bit milky, a little bit frosty of what the actual color in the bottle is. These plastic bottles are clear, and that Scorpy green is coming through crisp and vibrant. I'm really seeing the Scorpy, the Scorpina. And I think as long as these bottles hold up in the long term, like we'll see if in 5 years people are finding that they turn brittle or have some other weird problem. But as long as we don't run into anything terrible like that, I like them.
I mean, the idea of having clear bottles makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to see the color, but then again, UV radiation, all the if they're going to be in the sun at all, is that going to start to do some weird stuff to them?
I don't actually know what. Oh, hold on. Just looking at the bottle to see if it's written on them what kind of plastic it is. But actually, a lot of plastic does block a decent amount of UV radiation.
Okay. Interesting.
But no,
I'm thinking of it like
is that if your paint rack is next to the window or something, some pigments will take damage from UV radiation. So that is a very fair point, Casey.
Not that our paints are generally in the sun or outside, so I mean it's probably fine. Like, I guess the theory would be that you're going to run out before it goes bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Scorpy green, depending on how many scorpions, Eldar scorpions you have to paint.
No, my Scorpy green I use just for my dark Eldar eye lenses. They're the lenses on their helmets. And you really don't use too much. You really don't use too much for that.
Man, I've gone through some bottles of like mood green,
sure,
you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
no,
same
I see
color,
that.
but...
I was playing with this. This is actually a pretty good goblin color. At
Oh,
least
yeah.
for highlights for goblins. It's pretty good color for that. So
that's a good call.
Yeah, in general, I'm excited for the Vallejo game color refresh. And if you have some locally, I'd recommend picking up a few bottles, see what happens. We'll see how the physical bottles do in the long run. I'm hoping they hold together, and if they do, every company should move to them.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, we're waiting for some updates from some people on their Vallejo Stillwater. We're still gonna see how that goes. Yours is all messed up.
Yep.
So we'll put this on the list for 3 to 5 years. Everybody just report back.
Yeah, report back.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, I sort of figured something out with the Pro Acryl bottles. So Pro Acryl has a different design of bottle from every other company. They have the bottle cap where the nipple is like you screw it open, and so so you turn the cap and it opens it, but like the top doesn't actually physically come off the bottle or anything. It's like the top to a sriracha sauce or something like that.
Say that again.
Sriracha.
Sriracha. Yeah.
You gotta get a sriracha documentary going here.
Exactly.
Don't test me. Thin ice, Casey.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. So anyway, Monument Hobbies, the Pro Acryl bottles have this thing where sometimes where you open up that sriracha cap and like some paint just kind of squirts out the top.
Yes.
And I think I've just basically thought this through more than I had been before. But those bottles are airtight, like truly airtight. In a way that no other paint bottle is. And so I think just changes in room temperature cause slight changes in the internal pressure in those bottles, and that sometimes it's relieving pressure when you crack it open. And so I found a little bit of luck with before you open the top to let paint out of the top, if you unscrew the cap from the bottle a little bit to break the seal first.
Sure.
So there's the black cap that's screwed on to the frosty clear bottle.
Yeah,
if you
and then just
unscrew the whole cap from the bottle just enough to break the seal, because there is kind of like not an O-ring, but there's a gasket in there between the black cap and the frosty
foam
clear
gasket.
bottle. Yeah, there's a gasket in there. And when I do that, I can often hear like a little pressure escape. So especially if I haven't touched my Pro Acryl bottles for, a week or two, when I pick up a fresh color, I've now gotten into the habit of cracking the pressure, bleeding off the pressure from, that lower screw cap, and then going and opening the sriracha cap and giving myself a few drops of paint. That seems to be better.
That makes a lot of sense, because I mean I've definitely had that happen, and it is like it feels random.
Yes.
When it happens.
Yes.
So that actually makes a lot of sense. What if when you were about to close it, you just kind of squeeze the bottle a little bit and then twisted the cap?
So there's a little space in there, you mean?
Yeah, so I mean, there's room for expansion, right? If there's pressure being built up or something, it would suck in air when you open it instead of pushing it out, technically. Because I mean, it's not a lot of pressure, obviously. Like it's enough, but if you squeeze it, then it would act like a vacuum when you opened it. Math. thinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to test this theory out. I think it makes sense.
You get your timing right on that. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's, like mash down on it like a monster. You just pinch it a little. Just get a little pinch and then close
I think
that
if you
tip.
kind of close it while it's a little bit pinched, so that the interior volume is actually a little bit smaller than it was before, and that there's some room.
Correct.
Like
yes.
if it heats up a little bit, there's a little bit of room for
expansion,
the bottle to snap back into its normal shape. Yeah, maybe.
So it might even out that pressure if it's an issue. Like, because if it gets hot, then it's gonna fill.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah.
So I think like months ago, I mentioned that a couple of the first Pro Acryl paints I bought, the black caps actually split.
Yeah, you were saying that.
And I think that is because of the pressure. And so it's only happened to 2 of my bottles so far. But yeah, just part of the black cap split, and it just happened like while it was sitting on the rack. And I think there's just a little bit of pressure in there. So my guess is that one of the additives and co-solvents in their medium blend, it might just be a little bit more volatile than water, combined with a truly airtight seal on those bottles. You just get a little bit of change in temperature, you get that gas expansion, and
yeah.
So I don't know. I think I understand the situation better, and just know that I probably want to undo the black caps to let out a little pressure if those have been sitting around for a while, especially now at the change of the seasons when we're going from winter to spring to summer here.
Yeah. No, that's actually a good call. Since I haven't been painting anything, I haven't opened any Pro Acryls in the last week or so, but it's gotten really hot here. So yeah, I'd be curious to see if that happens. I'll have to test that in a little bit, and then give it a little squeeze.
Yeah,
close it up, see if that.
I do like those bottles, but just they're
great.
They're different from most of the other bottles we have in the hobby, and just good to figure them out.
They do sell replacement caps too. So if your cap splits, you can. They're not that expensive, so at least they offer it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. Now, it's been not exactly funny to see, but I've seen a lot of people who have dumped out a can of the new speed paint colors, because there's a little trick to those as well. People, and I included, I have also done this, but there's a mixing,
the ball.
Yeah, the mixing ball in the speed paint is if you
so funny.
If you turn your speed paint and try to dropper it out like 180 degrees, like facing straight down, the mixing ball will fall down and plug the nipple, and you'll squeeze too hard, and the whole nipple will shoot off, and you'll lose most of that bottle of speed paint on your desk.
Yeah, that's liquidy enough. It's as bad as spilling a wash, pretty much.
Yeah,
like it will shoot everywhere.
Yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of people make that mistake, and myself included. And it's one of those things like, okay, you learned what the trick is. There's a ball in there. If you're distributing some speed paint for yourself, you got to hold the bottle at like a 45-degree angle.
It's funny, like, because I don't know, it's never occurred to me to like turn it all the way upside down to squeeze paint out, because generally even normal paints, like they come out pretty quick. Like as long as you kind of shake it forward, right? So it's up near the tip, like taking off the cap and just kind of dumping it enough. That's just like my go-to as far as putting paints on stuff. It's like, real sharp angle, like almost sideways. So I mean, I haven't run into the ball problem. I won't now because thinking about
live and learn. So if you have not experienced this yet, just be aware that it's a possibility, and it's not something that's ever going to happen with regular thick paints that have mixing balls, because you're never going, like it's so
too
viscous that the ball is never going to like fall into the nipple and block it. The chances that happening are very small. But with speed paint, which almost doesn't even need a mixing ball because it's so liquidy. It seems like it should mix pretty easily without one, but I guess there's a few colors that have a lot of white pigment where it probably does help. But
yeah, because even like GW contrast paints separate pretty fast.
Okay, yeah.
And you get a lot of that white in the bottom.
Yeah.
And you really have to mix it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
so I guess the mixing balls are worth it, but be aware that just the whatever size combination they have going there of the steel ball and the plastic nipple is unfortunate. Yeah. So
and for every other paint bottle, that's a little tip like that. Like, just make sure you have a paper clip on hand, because that's the only other way that's gonna shoot out like that. Yeah. And I've definitely done that where it clogs, the tip is clogged, and I go to squeeze it and the whole thing just shoots right off.
Yeah.
So
if paint isn't coming out of the paint nipple, it's either blocked with dry paint or it's blocked with a steel ball, and either way, squeezing harder is not the answer.
Not the answer. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
But I don't know. After the reactivation thing on Speed Paint 1.0, there's been a lot of people who are giddy to see flaws with, Speed Paint 2.0, and like, look how they're, trying to scam us this time. And it's definitely unfortunate if you spill $4.50 worth of speed paint on yourself. That's a bad day. But on the other hand, enough people have done it now that live and learn, and and there's a little bit of a learning curve, but I don't know. I've been telling people on the internet, like, when I pour myself a glass of milk, I have learned not to hold that upside down either. Like, just it turns out that shallow angle is enough, and that solves a lot of problems too.
Exactly,
makes the milk come out right.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's criticizing like scale 75 because you have to puncture the tips.
Oh yeah.
With a needle or a paper clip, like I said.
Yeah.
They don't come open. You have to puncture it. So a lot of people, and I mean, one of the hobby shops in my town has a like big PSA poster over the scale 75 rack that's like, you have to do this or you will shoot paint out everywhere, because you're going to squeeze it thinking, well, what's going on? And the little cap will pop off and you will now waste your brand new paint.
Okay. I need to try to remember that. I still don't think I've used scale 75. I definitely, haven't seen any locally available, but someday I will also make that mistake, and then I can join the club, and that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's a great club. It's like the Null Oil Club. It's great.
Yeah, Null Oil has the trick of you need to clamp that down to like a vise that's attached to your hobby desk. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's put liquid in a tall bottle with a huge lid that doesn't quite stay open all the time.
And then let's mess with the center of gravity of the whole dang thing by having the lid hang off at an angle.
It's great. It's great. It's everybody spilling Null Oil. It's wonderful.
There's a learning curve to even the stupidest of tiny little bottles. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this episode can really just be chalked up to don't do stupid stuff.
There's a title.
That's fair.
There you go. That's your title. Use that. I like that. All right, what else do we got going on, Casey? We got anything else for the people?
For the people? I mean, I don't know. I got some. I mean, I'd love to talk about the hobby stuff I'm doing, but right now it's not a lot. But I do have a hot news flash coming in for you. Dominion box is down 15-20% lately.
Buy.
Exactly. Where's the button? Click the button. That stupid show. Yeah. I found
Dominion
a box.
Moved from hold to buy.
It was creeping up there. Got up to like 120 a box, and it's like, I don't know. You got to hold off. Now the cheapest with shipping is like $96.50.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's $84 plus shipping. I mean, it's one dude on eBay, and I wish I had all the money in the world to just buy him out. But
do you have 9650?
Yeah, exactly. I think he's got like 20 boxes or something.
Oh,
yeah, there's a good amount there. So he's been sitting on him, and I think he's finally decided that it is no longer gonna go up in value. It's just Dominion is gonna crash and burn.
Just liquidating and getting ready to buy some Tyranids or something.
That's what exactly. A Leviathan 10th edition box set.
Camping
is also not available.
Done camping on the Cruel Boys. Time to camp on some Tyranids and see how that goes.
Exactly. Yeah. So lowest listing price like $84. Dominion still worth it. Still worth it.
Man, I was pretty happy that I locked in a box for myself at 104, but 9650, dang, that's all. That's you get two of those for the price of what they were supposed to be selling for,
Yeah, exactly. Your $200 box that, realistically, when you think about it too, they raised those $200 box prices to like $250, I don't know, 6 months after.
Did they?
So if you look at it like that, like $90, I know. But again, just to reiterate, that's 2 1,000-point armies in a single box for $94.
Yeah, and there's still another year left in the rule book that comes in that box before it's
at least the year or two.
Exactly 1 year.
Really matter.
There's exactly 1 year left in that rule book.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. It's not bad. I mean, those models are still good though. Like they're still some of the best.
Sure.
This round is gone. I mean, I know you're not a Cruel Boys fan, whatever.
Goblins safely handling grenades, every one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who thought that one up, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're not supposed to be funny. They spell Cruel Boys with a K and a Z. They're supposed to be funny. They're just not,
Some of them are, they got that look in their eye. You know what I'm saying? They ride giant birds.
Right,
and weird monsters.
You paint those eyes so that they have the look in their eye, Casey.
Yeah. You just point those pupils whichever directions you want, and you're good.
That's how you make them funny. You just make them all googly-eyed, cross-eyed, and googly-eyed.
Every single model in the Cruel Boys line, and you are fine.
Here, let me paint the pupils. I'll make them funny.
Yeah, like I'll do this right.
Yeah.
Don't need any resculpts here. We just a little bit of imagination.
Get a good point on my size 4 brush, and we'll make them funny. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Size 4 brush. Yeah. Oh man.
And I don't know. Not too much new around here. I've upgraded my hobby space a little bit. Right over there is where the cat litter box has been, and for a while now, it's been wasted space, so I built a table over the cat litter box. Still plenty of room for the cats to go down in there, but now I got a table on top now. 2 feet by 4 feet of not exactly usable space, but I could pile a bunch of stuff up there, and
it's behind the camera, so you pile whatever you want.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
So
all my piles of stuff are literally just off camera in most directions in this room. Like
so good.
I got a pile of crap over here, pile of crap over there, and it's fine. It's fine. Doesn't even matter. Just don't point things that way, and it's fine.
just upgrade my storage space. Oh, man, Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast keep doing stupid things, so I decided to buy some Flesh and Blood cards, and it looks pretty fun. There
you go.
You get my local pals to give me a game or two here.
There you go. Yeah, I'm doing a tournaments right next to the Yu-Gi-Oh tables, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It looks fun. Looks cool. It looks a lot like Magic. Go figure. I mean, collectible card games these days.
Card game. Yeah.
I heard that the Star Wars collectible card game's coming back.
I think they're coming out with the 4th or 5th Star Wars trading card game.
Okay. I don't know. I just heard that somewhere.
Yeah. Well, just the licenses changed a few times, and they're trying another one. I saw the first couple of cards, and the art wasn't grabbing me on them, so I'm not probably not going to get too invested. But we've also learned now that Star Wars card games do not last very long, because even if people like the game, like the license just changes and then they stop being printed. So yeah,
that's fair. Yeah. That makes sense. I guess one more thing before we wrap up. Have you ever heard this saying? It isn't a real army until you get blood on it. I
have.
You have heard that, okay.
Yeah, Casey, I'm sorry about your finger, dude. I hope those antibiotics work.
Yeah, me too. No, I just, bring it back around to the safety thing. Like, sometimes you cut yourself. And basically the point of that saying, because I think most everyone's heard that, is that you're going to at some point. So, wash your hands. Yeah, good call.
Wash your hands.
All right, well, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.